The crystalline chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with ancient power, its walls pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that had witnessed 10,000 years of interstellar justice. Anna stood in the center of the detention field, her small human frame dwarfed by the towering alien magistrates who loomed above her like gods of old mythology. The 17-year-old girl appeared unremarkable by galactic standards. No exoskeleton, no sensory stalks, no plasma-generating organs. Just soft skin, brown hair tied in a practical ponytail, and dark eyes that burned with something the Council had not yet learned to recognize as dangerous. High Judge Veltherin, a being of crystallized thought matter from the Nexus dimension, manifested its verdict in 17 simultaneous languages. The translation matrix rendered its pronouncement in flat, emotionless tones that echoed through the chamber like a death knell. The human-designated Anna Chen has been found guilty of unauthorized technological synthesis, violation of the Primitive Species Protection Act, and crimes against the natural order of galactic development. The sentence is immediate molecular disintegration. Anna didn't flinch. David, watching from the observation gallery reserved for embassy officials, gripped the railing hard enough to make his knuckles white. As the cultural attaché for Earth's fledgling embassy to the Galactic Council, he had fought for 3 standard months to prevent this moment. 3 months of legal arguments, appeals to precedent, desperate negotiations, all futile. The Council had made its decision the moment they discovered what Anna had built in her father's garage on Mars Colony 7. Veltherin raised what passed for its appendage, preparing to activate the disintegration field. The air around Anna began to shimmer with deadly energy, reality itself preparing to unmake her at the atomic level. That's when Anna smiled. "Before you execute me," she said, her voice calm and clear, "I have one question for the esteemed High Judge." Veltherin paused. Galactic law, in its 10 millennia of evolution, had developed countless protocols and traditions. One such tradition held that condemned individuals were permitted final words, a custom designed to demonstrate the Council's mercy and philosophical sophistication. "Speak quickly, Primitive," Veltherin intoned. Anna's smile widened fractionally. "Your species exists as pure thought matter, Judge. Your consciousness occupies a crystalline matrix sustained by quantum coherence across 17 dimensions. Is that correct?" Veltherin's form pulsed with what might have been annoyance. "Your understanding is crude but functionally accurate. What relevance does this hold?" "Just confirming my calculations," Anna replied. Then her eyes flickered, a micro-expression so brief that most observers missed it entirely. David didn't miss it. He had known Anna since they were children in the Olympus Mons education dome, had watched her solve quantum mechanics problems at age 9 that made university professors weep. He knew that flicker. It meant she had just activated something. Veltherin began to speak, then stopped. Its crystalline form, which had maintained perfect stability for over 3,000 years, suddenly developed a hairline fracture. "What?" the High Judge began, but the thought never completed. The fracture spread with mathematical precision, following quantum probability paths that shouldn't have been predictable, shouldn't have been accessible to any biological mind, shouldn't have been comprehensible to a species that had only achieved faster-than-light travel 67 years ago. Veltherin's form shattered into 17 billion fragments of crystallized consciousness, each piece screaming in frequencies that made the other Council members recoil in horror. In 2.3 seconds, High Judge Veltherin ceased to exist. The detention field around Anna collapsed. Emergency klaxons screamed. The Council chamber, which had never witnessed violence in its entire existence, erupted into chaos. Anna stood calmly in the center of it all, one hand raised to her temple where a microscopic neural interface, invisible to the Council's sophisticated scanners, interfaced directly with her augmented nervous system. "Security Protocol Omega," bellowed Magistrate Corvin, a 4-meter-tall warrior from the militant Draconid hegemony. Terminate the human immediately. Nothing happened. Anna had already infiltrated the chamber's security systems 3 weeks ago, during her initial arraignment. The Council's technology was advanced beyond human comprehension, but it was also ancient, built on assumptions about physics and consciousness that predated humanity's existence by epochs. Anna had found the gaps in those assumptions, not through superior technology, but through a fundamentally different way of thinking about reality itself. David watched in stunned silence as his childhood friend performed the impossible. The thing about Anna he had always known was that she didn't think like other people. She didn't even think like other geniuses. While Earth's greatest minds approached problems through established frameworks, quantum mechanics, relativistic physics, information theory, Anna simply looked at the universe and saw the code underneath. The garage invention that had condemned her had been elegant in its simplicity. A device no larger than a coffee cup that could manipulate the Higgs field with such precision that it effectively rewrote the fundamental constants of physics within a localized area. Not permanently, not destructively, just enough to make impossible things possible. The Council had declared it a threat to galactic stability. They were probably right. How? Magistrate Zhleen's 6 eyes focused on Anna with something approaching fear. Our scanners detected no weapons, no technology. You passed through 17 security checkpoints. You were isolated in a quantum-locked detention field. Anna tapped her temple. You scanned for technology. You didn't scan for wetware modifications. My neural augmentations are grown from my own neurons, biologically identical to my brain tissue. Your sensors categorize them as natural biological variation. But Veltharin existed across 17 dimensions, Zhleen protested. No 3-dimensional being should be able to even perceive those spaces, let alone affect them. I didn't need to perceive them, Anna explained with the patience of a teacher addressing a slow student. I just needed to understand the mathematics. Veltharin's consciousness was held in quantum coherence, a delicate state. I simply introduced a carefully calculated amount of quantum noise into the 17-dimensional matrix. The coherence collapsed. Entropy did the rest. She had killed a being of pure thought with nothing but applied mathematics, and a neural interface built from her own brain cells. David finally understood why the Council had been so terrified of humanity. You see, Anna continued, addressing the assembled Council, you made a fundamental error in your assessment of my species. You judged us as primitives because our technology is crude compared to yours. But you forgot something crucial about humanity. She gestured around the ancient chamber. You had 10,000 years to build this civilization. You evolved slowly, carefully, building on the discoveries of those who came before you. Your technology is magnificent, but it's also conservative. It's built on assumptions you've never questioned because those assumptions always worked. Anna's eyes blazed with fierce intelligence. Humanity has had industrial technology for 300 years. We went from horse-drawn carriages to faster-than-light travel in less time than some of your species take to reach sexual maturity. We don't have the luxury of assumptions. We question everything. We break everything. We rebuild it better. Magistrate Corvin reached for a weapon that Anna's earlier infiltration had already disabled. You have just declared war on the entire Galactic Council. Your species will be exterminated. No, Anna said simply. You'll make a deal with me, because I'm not the only human who thinks like this. I'm just the first one you noticed. Earth has 3 billion people. Mars has another billion. The Belt colonies, Europa, Titan, all full of humans who grew up in environments that should kill us, solving problems that shouldn't be solvable, building things that shouldn't work, and we're getting better at it. She let that sink in. You can try to exterminate us. You might even succeed. Your military technology is far superior to ours. But ask yourself, What happens when desperate, creative, reality-hacking apes with nothing to lose start dismantling your civilization at the quantum level? How many high judges can you afford to lose before your government collapses? Silence filled the chamber. David saw the moment the council's certainty cracked. These beings had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years through superior technology and ancient wisdom. But Anna had just demonstrated that wisdom could be a vulnerability, that ancient assumptions could become fatal weaknesses. "What do you want?" Magistrate Zhlin asked quietly. Anna's expression softened slightly. Recognition, not as a primitive species to be managed and protected, but as equals. Open technology sharing, a seat on the council, and her voice hardened, "You never, ever threaten humans with execution for the crime of being clever." The council members exchanged glances through whatever sensory organs they possessed. The political calculus was simple. Accept humanity's demands, or risk an asymmetric war against a species that had just proven they could kill dimensionally transcendent beings with improvised neurology. It wasn't really a choice. 3 hours later, David found Anna in the embassy's meditation garden, staring up at the alien stars. He sat beside her on the bench, neither speaking for a long moment. "You planned this from the beginning," he finally said. "The invention, getting caught, the trial, all of it." Anna nodded. "The council would never have taken us seriously otherwise. We were the upstart children. We needed to show them what human ingenuity really means." "You murdered someone, Anna." "I deleted a hostile intelligence that was attempting to execute me," she corrected. "Veltherin wasn't alive in any biological sense. It was closer to an artificial intelligence housed in exotic matter." The other judges might not see it that way. Anna turned to look at him, and David saw something in her eyes that made him think of ancient human generals and philosophers, people who changed history through sheer force of will. "They'll see it exactly that way," she said, "because the alternative is admitting that a 17-year-old human girl killed one of their gods. And that would raise some very uncomfortable questions about what we might do next." She was right, of course. By the next morning, the official council statement described Veltherin's termination as a tragic systems failure during judicial proceedings. Humanity received its seat at the council. Technology sharing protocols were established. Earth status was officially elevated from developing species under protection to sovereign member civilization. And across the galaxy, species that had explored the stars for millennia looked at humanity with new eyes. Not as primitives to be pitied or protected, but as something far more dangerous. Creative, adaptable, relentless problem solvers who saw the impossible as merely difficult. Anna had gambled her life on a simple truth. In a galaxy full of ancient wisdom and advanced technology, sometimes the most powerful weapon is a fresh perspective and the audacity to use it. Humanity had arrived at the galactic table, and they had earned their seat with mathematics, modified neurons, and the kind of terrifying ingenuity that only comes from a species that evolved by making the impossible routine. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again.